And welcome back to the PD Football Podcast. My name is Presh.
My name is Darren.
And how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just super fatigued. Been doing a lot of socializing this week, so super tired, but I'm okay. I'm good. I'm ready for the episode. How's everything on your end?
So, last night was Oscar night, and I have opinions. But this is not the correct avenue to address my gripes. All I'll say is that, with the exception of Jesse Buckley, the acting awards were a disgrace. Michael B., Sean Penn, and Amy Madigan are the worst group of winners in years. So, did you see the Oscars?
I don't care about the Oscars.
All right.
I'm curious to hear your viewpoint on the Oscars.
No, it's just a very milquetoast opinion, so let's not go through it. This is a football podcast, so we should stick to football. But just know I'm not happy. That's all I wanted to...
Who did you want to win the Best Actor award?
Oh, Chalamet. He was phenomenal in Marty Supreme, so...
I heard he said something or something.
He said something like, I don't want cinema to go the way of ballet and dancing or something like that. And then the implication is that those are dying genres. And then he said, oh no, I've just lost 43 cents worth of viewing numbers now after he said that.
So what okay. What does that mean though?
He was just being rude to ballet dancers and
But why did the Academy or whatever they called, why did they take it so personal?
So that's not the case. Voting was already done when he made those comments. So I can see how in the future people will look back and say those comments are what cost him. He was snubbed because of those comments, but that's just not the case at all. People just connected with Michael B, more so in Sinners than Marty Supreme, but to each their own. I disagree, but I've disagreed with a lot of awards over the years. So, like I said, it's a disgrace, but the Oscars in general are a disgrace. A lot of
Amorim could have got one. I mean, if he had finished the season.
Yes, that's how easy it is to get one. Ruben Amorim, very big crook, but
a great actor. He got the biggest job in England.
Incredible stuff. So let's start with West Ham 1, Man City 1. City made 3 changes to the team that lost 3-0 to Real Madrid, with Ait Nouri in for Doku and a positional change for Nico O'Reilly. Mateus Nunes in for Ruben Diaz, with Kushanov moving to centre-back, and Mamouche in for Savio. Pep also changed formation from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-1-3-2. So I didn't watch the Real Madrid match, so I can't say what changed exactly, but I can only speak about this match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the threat from West Ham was never going to be the same against Real Madrid. So
West Ham made 4 changes to the team that beat Brentford in the FA Cup. Nuno also changed shape from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-4-1-2. So West Ham were perfectly set up to sit deep and counter. And the sit deep portion of this plan worked extremely well because it was early dominance from City, which, for context, West Ham only had 5 completed passes by the 12th minute, and City had over 100. But
I mean, the game hardly fell out of that pattern. I mean,
yes, well, I'll get to it now. But City just had no threat, not even half chances. Now, like I said, this was partly because of West Ham sitting deep and covering the space as well, but City were just poor at creating. Semenyo was playing in the 10, which is not his strong suit, and Mamouche did very little as well.
Yeah, I guess Pep was just hoping. It seemed like they were hoping to create a chaotic game and then profit in the margins. But I guess West Ham kept their discipline a bit.
Well, to me, it's quite obvious, and obviously we talk in hindsight, so take that with a grain of salt. But I thought this is the perfect game for Doku and Cherki because you're playing against a deep block. So they're the 2 most creative players that you have. I understand Doku is not the best at the final ball, but he can actually beat a man.
Yeah, and he can create something.
So Doku and Cherki are the obvious, players to be
options,
playing in a match like this. More so than a Madrid game, which I assume he didn't start them because
of the Madrid. I think he probably assumed they'd have enough to win.
Yeah, that's true as well.
I mean, you can understand his viewpoint. I mean, I don't think it's an excuse because every game in the Premier League is should be taken seriously any game, as long as you're competing for something, I guess. But I think I would understand his viewpoint in the sense that they did do enough to win the game as well. It was like Hermansen also had a blinder, which was I don't think I think in, like you said, it's a hindsight thing. It could have worked the other way, and then everyone says, "Oh, okay, if they have a full team for Real Madrid, it worked in our favor," you know. But I do think in the end it was a hefty price to pay, because I think this is probably the weekend where psychologically it's right in our grip now, you know.
Bernardo chips the keeper from the left wing. It actually looks to be a cross that went wrong, or right if you're a City fan.
Interpretation, yeah. A mishit cross, but it looked like a world-class goal on first viewing.
So it was neither the system nor individual brilliance that led to the goal. It was a mistake they got lucky with. So very frustrating from City, and if you're supporting City, which I was.
I mean, I guess as a City fan, they would probably be thinking, like, especially after Arsenal had won, that there's a lot resting on this game. So I think it's hard. Like, hindsight is always easier to go with, you know. It's easy to say, you could have done this, you could have done that. But I think at the same time, it could have worked. They did enough to win the game, so it's hard to criticize Pep's approach in terms of, I think they could have and should have won the game. It's not like, from a coaching perspective, I wouldn't say he gave them the best chance of winning the game, but I'd say he gave them a better chance than West Ham. And thinking of Real Madrid, I guess, was probably his main priority in the team selection, you know.
So West Ham immediately responded with a headed goal from Mavropanos. Donnarumma misses the ball completely, very poor from him, and I actually haven't been impressed with him in recent weeks.
I mean, there's just an ex-Arsenal player probably gifting us the title, so that's a
Donnarumma. So his whole thing is that he's not good with his feet, so he needs to make up for it with exceptional saving and like collecting of crosses, and the fact is he's not making up for his lack of ball playing with, you know, other portions of his game right now. In fact, it's making it worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of the same problem Man United had a few seasons ago when De Gea started to fall out of form, and then his distribution didn't really leave them much, you know.
But I just think, I have no idea, right? But I'm led to believe that Trafford is really good with his feet. So
the times I've watched him, he is, but I mean, you know, I think with any goalkeeper that has to develop the understanding of how to use their passing range, I guess they're going to make a lot of mistakes. Maybe Man City are just in the moment where they need someone who's guarantees you something. Maybe that's what they thought. I don't think it worked out, but, you know, I guess basing it off of last season, you could see that perhaps they thought Donnarumma was going to have a type of season where he could win them the Champions League or...
Alright. Now the same pattern continues till roughly the 60th minute when Doku and Cherki come on and they start to make a difference. So I was being kind of facetious when I said it was in hindsight, because during the match as well I saw the difference that they made. City looked far more dangerous and started to get some half chances. Unfortunately for them, no one was clinical enough to turn one of those half chances into a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think once again you can probably see a bit of Haaland, like the problem we've said with Haaland when the team is not playing well, you know. Does he have the...
Or not just that, it's when the spaces are tiny, he doesn't... he's not good enough or nimble enough to negotiate those situations.
But I still think he had like at least 2 chances where he would have taken at the start of the season. So
sure.
It's still like, I don't think Haaland has ever been the player who thrives in tight spaces, but I think he's always been the type of player that he will get 2 chances a game and he usually takes them. So
I agree with that, yeah.
I think with that dynamic going out, it's hard to see what he offers. Maybe place Semenyo up front, drop him for a bit. It makes more sense right now to, like you said, get...
or Mamouche up front and put Semenyo on the wing. I just don't understand this, put Semenyo here, put Semenyo there, when... He's just a winger. Let him play on the wing.
But I think he can play. He's played it under Ariel false 9 quite a few times.
Just because you can doesn't
but I think that
mean...
was when he went through his brightest scoring spell, he was playing through the center. So,
well, that's kind of obvious that if you're in the center,
I think he's the best finisher if Haaland is not finishing. So it makes sense for the chances to... I mean, you're going to get the creation from Doku, maybe, and definitely from Cherki. So I think... it makes sense to let the chances fall to him if Haaland's not taking them, you know.
Okay, we're just going to have to disagree about Semenyo false nine. I just think him on the wing, him on the left wing, Cherky on the right wing, that would be the, preferred or the strongest 11.
I don't think he offers much in terms of dribbling or creativity, so I would rather have him where he has less of that to do.
Okay. Is the title race done?
In my opinion, yes, but I've said for the longest time I thought we'd win it comfortably. And
in November, you are already doing victory laps, so...
Yeah, I've always felt, I think, and it's not like I was just saying it as an Arsenal fan, I just felt we were the only team that was complete in the Premier League this season.
Well, I said,
coming into the season, I thought you guys would beat us for the first month or two, but once the season settled in, I was pretty sure you were going to win it comfortably.
Okay, so this predates the podcast, but I thought Arsenal quote-unquote, won the transfer window because they replaced every single...
Yeah,
not
definitely.
replaced... Not even replaced, but they upgraded every position that they needed to and got backups for the positions that they already had. So and the most important thing was getting a striker, which Gyökeres, you can argue about Gyökeres' quality, but they needed a striker and they bought a striker.
And I mean, he has got some decisive goals. I think his consistency is an argument at this point, but you can't argue about the decisiveness of the goals he's got, So yeah, I think it's hard to criticize, and we'll talk about Arsenal later, of course. But I think, maybe that's the thing. I'd say obviously there's no comparison between him and Haaland, but I think in the margins this season, the decisiveness of Haaland's goals haven't been the same as last season or in the treble-winning season. So
Haaland is a stat padder. He's not known for scoring in the big games and being a decider of the big games, I don't think. Yeah, in my mind, I should say.
I would say, but I'd say he's still got, he scored against us a hat-trick or a brace. I think he scored against you guys, scored against Man United. So I think it's more the absolute biggest games, which you could level that, critique at a lot of players that have even retired and would be still considered some of the game's best players. So I think being part of a team that wins is more important, and if he can be the shining light in that team over the course of the season, I think every game matters as much as the next game. It's why people could say, you have a player who's an exceptional big game player, but unless they have a player or players around him who are consistent in every game, they'll just be a big game player,
That's the perfect bridge to talk about Liverpool 1, Spurs 1. And that player, his name is Szoboszlai, who plays out of his skin every week only to be let down by
his team. Time and time again.
Very poor. Now, I didn't even make proper notes for this match. It's just a lot of capital letters and me screaming while I was typing this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, like I've said, this season, he's been probably... I think him and Declan Rice have bridged the gap between themselves and the rest of the midfielders in the league this season, in my opinion at least. I think they're comfortably the two best midfielders in the league right now, but he is definitely being let down by your system,
And the fact that he's being played at right back.
Yeah.
Now, a few weeks ago I said our starting wingers should be Rio on the left, Frimpong on the right. Now I said that with the understanding that Joe Gomez would be the right back. Szoboszlai playing at right back, he's just not defensively aware enough. And that's not his fault. Szoboszlai is a midfielder. How can you play a midfielder out of position and then blame him for not having the qualities needed for that particular position?
I mean, I guess it's one of those things where I remember Wenger did the same thing where he played someone out of... I don't remember who it was. He played a player out of possession. They played decently, and then he continued to play them there for almost the whole season, and then they started letting us down. I think it was Coquelin. I think he played Coquelin at right back, and not that he was a good midfielder either, but at right back he was worse.
Now, sometimes it can work playing a player out of position and they actually adapt and they prefer that position later.
Philipp Lahm?
That could be, but there's other players that they just look so bad because you've misprofiled them and they have one or two qualities that could suit a position, but just because somebody can play a position doesn't mean they should, which is what I was trying to say about Semenyo as well. I think just put players in their best positions and let them, cook,
Yeah, I mean, I just think Semenyo's best position is to the center. I just think that's a fact.
Alright, we're getting back to the Semenyo thing. Let's just leave it in the, we can agree to disagree on that, right? I was just very frustrated with resting Ekatike and Salah, but refusing to rest a midfield that is completely exhausted. I made the same point last week that he refuses to rotate. Trey Nyoni only got 10 minutes again.
I mean, generally the balance was terrible, from you guys. Because I think also you have to bear in mind that at this point you guys are playing probably the worst team, maybe in the top 3 leagues in terms of form right now in Europe. So
I sent my brother a message saying, we're playing the worst team in the league tomorrow. But you know who actually played the worst team in the league? Spurs. Spurs drew with the worst team in the league, and Spurs should be embarrassed that they got that result.
They got held to a draw at Anfield.
Yes. That Wirtz, absolutely poor again. You could maybe say that it's because he's coming back from injury, but just cowardly, if I can say that, because there's so many times when he could have just taken a shot or taken initiative, but instead he passed it off to somebody else.
I mean, the sad thing, I think, if you're a Tottenham fan, like you said, is that you guys played a horrible game and still with a better team. So it's I really struggle to see Tottenham staying up right now, especially because they have the hardest fixture list of all 3 teams. I see Nottingham Forest playing better. So
another gripe I have, playing Joe Gomez at centre back. Now I know on paper he's a centre back, but he's had his best games at right back. And in fact, in the League Cup, he had a stinker against Southampton at centre back. So, if we're basing it on past performance, he should not be starting at centre back for us. Not at all. Why not give a youth player a shot and play Gomez at right back to
Who's the youth centre back or the backup centre half? Because I remember earlier when we first started, you were saying that we have a centre half crisis on one of the earlier episodes. Oh no, it was a right back. Sorry. Where you said
we've had several crises.
But I got it confused. Sorry, it was the right back.
Leone, our backup centre back, got injured, out for the season. Gomez.
He played like really well in the game.
One
and got
game
injured in the second half.
Yeah,
right?
one game. Okay. In that one game, I was like, "Wow, this guy looks good," and then
he gets injured in the same game.
Yeah, very disappointing time for us.
So I mean, right now, I think, are you at the point where you would rather not make the Champions League so that Slot gets sacked, but then that's a season in the Europa League? So, do you think they'll still sack him even if he finishes 4th?
I'm not one of those people who wishes bad on the club or who says we need to lose so that this can happen. It's both true that I've mentioned on this podcast that I want Slot sacked now. Yeah. Even though the quote-unquote the right thing would be to wait until the summer where more coaches will be available. The World Cup coaches will, for example, Thomas Tuchel, who is I'm just such a big fan of, would be available. I've brought up this point before, but Lampard said that he didn't have a top 4 quality Chelsea team, and then Tuchel took that same team and won the Champions League. So this idea that a replacement mid-season can't do a better job or that kind of thing is just ridiculous to me.
I mean, I guess it's just the thing of maybe if the manager they do want, like you said, is currently employed, maybe they're waiting for the...
Yeah, but even then, don't you think an interim could do better than Slot? Because it's not just the football that's dire, it's the kind
emotion.
Of the feeling around the stadium is like
Steven Gerrard on a 6-month.
Why not? Because the fans actually booed at the end of the Spurs game, which we're not that quote-unquote type of club. We very rarely boo the players or the manager, even in bad times, because we're quote-unquote classy and we're always behind the team. And we're kind of, in comparison to Everton, who constantly boo their manager and players.
Everton think they're Real Madrid,
I guess. Well, every team should think that they're Real Madrid, and
there's different culture in different clubs. I think, for example, you guys, the motivating factor works. That's also more intimidating for other teams because it's when you go to Anfield on a Champions League night, you could be dominating Liverpool, but the crowd is not going away. They're not stopping.
Now it's interesting you bring that up because I read a stat this week, not sure how true it is, and my memory is failing me, but apparently we haven't won a home fixture in the Champions League since Barcelona in 2019. I tried to think about it, and I cannot remember the specifics, but that seems about right to me.
Since 2019?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Surely you had to. How many?
Okay.
Did you guys beat Real Madrid this season at Anfield?
Not a knockout game.
Oh, a knockout game. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
If we're talking about group stage games, we've won at Anfield. But I mean.
Oh, a knockout game. Yeah.
In a knockout game, we've always drawn at Anfield and beaten them away or something like that. But we haven't won since Barcelona 2019.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't know that.
You know how ridiculous that is.
That's crazy. The folklore around Anfield.
The Anfield factor has been non-existent for years now.
I wouldn't say that though. Like
it's happened in league games, but not like what it's built up to be versus what it has been.
But I think maybe the continental teams deal with the pressure better. A team from La Liga or Germany, for example, wouldn't be as intimidated going to Anfield because it's the common sort of atmosphere there, especially if you go to the south of Spain, or Germany, it's like throughout the whole country. France, the same thing. So I think in England there's only one atmosphere like that, so it's very intimidating for let's just say Arsenal. I think we've, even in the, let's say 3 of the last 4 seasons, we've been better than you guys but still struggled at Anfield. So
I agree with that. But yeah, I'm just talking about knockout football. We've lost our mojo. Or a lot of people blame like tourist fans who they just from whatever country come in to watch the game, and they've it's not a xenophobic thing. It's more that the club,
they didn't grow up.
No. It has nothing to do with them. They're saying the owners have priced out the local people. So the only people who can afford tickets are people coming from other countries, Yeah,
I agree with it in that sense. You should have a balance, because I do think the international fans, they also the ones who grew the game.
That's what makes you a super club, having these
that's what turns
international
into a big brand, I guess.
But making it so that locals can't attend games, because it's the locals who make that special Anfield factor.
But I guess that would be the same as at all the top clubs, because I think you guys have the cheapest ticket prices from the top 6.
Well, whatever the case is, we're still overcharging local fans, because that's all we hear on Liverpool forums.
Worse.
Arsenal are apparently the highest
in Europe, I think.
But to be fair, you have a much better stadium than most places, so the infrastructure is better, so they are able to charge a premium.
I wonder like Tottenham has the best stadium in the country, but they're going to go down.
Yeah.
How will that pan out?
Yes. And by the way, no hard feelings to Spurs. Spurs came and did what they were supposed to do. We were exceptionally poor.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think I've generally always given Slot credit for throughout the season is that he's always tried to pick a balanced team, even for better or worse, even if his setup is wrong. I think he's always sought balance. But like the game against Galatasaray, which I watched, and this game, it just seemed like he's also lost the balance, which then you're starting to think, what does he offer? What can he improve on next season? Let's say he gets the signings right, which technically he did get this season. You got who most people last season would have considered the best player in the Premier League for me, in Isak. Maybe some people would have said Haaland, but I think at the end of last season, everyone was talking about Isak as the most complete attacker in the Premier League. And he's had injuries or whatever, but I don't think Slot has found a way to bring him into the team. I think Ekitike, developing faster than people have expected at the start of the season, covered up a lot of problems for you guys. But once the balance is gone now, it seems like he's making erratic decisions, even from a coaching perspective, and just hoping they pay off.
So speaking of which, we barely talked about play, because this is not the game. This is not the game for that. This is the game for me to just be upset and vent. I just thought everybody's kind of forcing the ball to Rio, which, be clear, it's fine if he's a cog in the machine and you're passing to him because he's in the best position to, make use of the ball. But if you're forcing the ball to him every time, even if he's not in the best position, that's wrong. That's,
But it also shows a bit of immaturity from the team, because it feels like they're expecting the kid to bail them out.
Exactly,
okay, you do it,
I know the fans have been calling for Rio to play more, but the fans haven't called for him to be the focal point.
The linchpin, yeah. I think people are still expecting that of Wirtz. I know we were talking off camera, you were completely dismayed by Wirtz's performance, let's say. I was going to use stronger language, but...
No, I swear we just talked about it now on the pod.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
we not?
No, I think you just mentioned that he was atrocious, but I think when we were coming here, you were talking about, this is now the Wirtz of the start of the season.
Well, he was very poor. It reminded me of Morgan Gibbs-White, who's a player I don't like. I know you rate him a lot, but...
I rate him a lot, yeah.
For me, both Morgan Gibbs-White and now Wirtz they're just kind of looking busy about the pitch without doing much. They have a nice flick here and there. They will play one good ball here and there, but for most of the time they're not doing much on the pitch, not pressing well, not doing off the ball stuff.
I think I rate Morgan Gibbs-White based on the fact that I think he's also been mismanaged his whole career. So,
well, where do you think he should be playing?
No, I think he's
both position-wise and club-wise.
Club-wise, I think any one of the top teams he could fit into. I would say he suits us most because I would like him as an Odegaard replacement. I think he has all the fundamentals. He leads the press well. I think he's just been playing his whole career in a low block where he's been the main player every time. I don't think he's meant to be the main player. I think if he goes to a team where he's not expected to do everything and he can focus on what he's good at, I don't see many better profiles as an 8 for me.
All right.
Especially as a deep-lying 8. And if he can free Declan Rice going up, because I've been very impressed with Declan Rice carrying the ball, I'd like him to carry it closer to the opposition half. I would think he would suit Arsenal, perhaps Chelsea as well.
All right, we're just going to have to disagree. Same about Semenyo. Gibbs-White, you and I will have to defer on that. The next point I wanted to say is that, getting back to the Liverpool game, is we're constantly conceding after the 90th minute, and this has become a pattern. If it happens once or twice, fair enough. But it could be concentration. That's, could be one thing. But the thing that everyone is talking about is conditioning. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain said Klopp's training was so hectic that when they actually got to games, the games were much easier than their training.
Yeah.
So Slot's training sessions must be far less intense and far less demanding.
I think Saka said the same thing about Arsenal's training sessions, that the games are a bit easier because they're less intense as well. So
yeah, that in my mind, that's how it should be. That's what a top coach does to differentiate from, like a top
stand
4
out
club
from the pack.
Yeah, a top 4 club to a Champions challenging team. That's the one of many things you can do to differentiate yourself, I think. And
so with all that being said, do you think you guys have like a squad that, I mean, obviously now I think it's evident Arsenal have the best squad in the league, but do you think you guys should be above Man City if everything is managed correctly? Or let's just say, I think coming into the season they added Semenyo and Guehi. You guys were going to get Guehi. So like my thing is, how much do you think you guys have underperformed, or where do you think you guys should be?
Do you want to go position by position, or?
No, not position. Just, you can do whatever you can speak about.
Okay, so goalkeeper, I think we're totally fine. In fact, we're extending Alisson's contract. Or there was an option to extend, and we exercised that option now. I'm totally in love with Alisson, one of our best players. Very rarely lets us down, if ever.
The best goalkeeper in the league's history for me.
League's history. Wow, that's a big one.
Cech, but
that's a big one.
I watched Peter Cech at Arsenal was.
But that's towards the end of his career. Like,
yeah,
I assume people are comparing prime to prime.
I didn't watch him week to week at Chelsea. I was still a kid at that time, so I wouldn't have even understood the fundamentals. But from everyone I've seen, I think Alisson's comfortably the best.
All right, right back, we're in big trouble. Conor Bradley is just not good enough. Frimpong is never played at right back slot, just refuses to play him there. Gomez is alright there, but we shouldn't be relying on him because going forward he's not the best. Szoboszlai playing right back, again, I've made my thoughts clear. He has some good defensive instincts, but overall he's just not a defender, so we can't blame him for defensive lapses and that kind of thing. Centre backs, we've bought Leone and we've bought Jeremy Jacquet now. Apparently Konate is off and Van Dijk is 1 year older. Gomez just not good enough to play centre back. So we've bought 4 youth centre backs. So I'm assuming one of them is going to make the jump up to cover for that, but I still think we need one more centre-back. So a right-back and a centre-back. Left-back, Kirkes, I think he's a good player. He just needs to... Imagine buying the most attacking left-back in the league and then playing him defensively. It's just... it boggles the mind why you would do something like that, but that's the honest lot way.
So far.
Robertson has been poor, except the match against Wolves of last week. He had a really poor game against Spurs this week, but he's not even in the top 5 of culprits, so that's why I'm not talking about him. Kostas Tsimikas is a good enough replacement. We can sell Robertson. Left back is fine. In midfield, we need a Gravenberch replacement. Or not replacement, backup. And in fact, I would say Gravenberch can be released to play 8, and he would do not much better, but like he would still put up a very good performance. So a specialized 6 or a backup to Gravenberch, either or. Midfield, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, that's a good mixture. Like Wirtz also plays there, so we got 4 decent midfielders. I don't think that's the issue. Gakpo is the biggest problem in the squad. Not because he's a bad player, like I said, he's a 6 out of 10 player, but...
You'd prefer to have him as a backup, perhaps, or...
No.
You don't think he offers much impact either?
He has one move, and people have just found it out, so what can we do now?
Yeah. I agree. I think he's too one-dimensional. He
has no dribbling bag, nothing. He'll never take on a man, which is very disheartening, especially because when he's in space, if he took on a man, he would, lead to more goals, in my opinion.
I think...
that's why people are crying out for Ngamoa. Sorry, carry on.
No, I think the Man City in the future, I think they might have similar problems with Semenyo, we were speaking about, because I think...
You really don't like Semenyo.
No, I rate him very highly, but I just think that those
because I remember when we did the transfer window episode, you were saying the unpopular opinion is that, or your unpopular opinion is that Semenyo is not a good signing for
Man City specifically.
City.
Yeah. I think he could have been good at another club. I don't see, I think Manchester City, Haaland is their golden boy right now. I don't see them letting him go. I don't see another Barcelona or Real Madrid really wanting him, which would be the 2 clubs he could go to, or PSG. So I think they would both need the system built around them. So it's who would Manchester City go with, the player who's already a club legend or someone who still has to prove himself? I still think Semenyo has a very high ceiling as a player, but I think he needs to go somewhere where he's going to be the main player.
Alright. At forward, we have both Ekatike and Isaac. I think they are a decent striker line. At right wing, we have Frimpong.
But then long term with that, I don't think either of them are going to accept sitting on the bench. So what's the solution there?
My thought was a positional change to make use of both of them. And then instead of buying another winger, we buy another striker. Because at the moment, wingers are at a premium, and there's some good strikers out there, in my mind. So, I guess 4-4-2. Whatever the new manager...
We've seen Simeone is going back to a 4-4-2, seems to be working for him so far. So
whatever the new manager wants to do, we'll see. But to me, making the best use out of the squad is playing with 2 strikers. So right back, centre back, left wing. Those are our problem positions, and a backup for CDM. Aside from that, I think we're good.
Okay, so you think you guys should be second?
No, I think we should win the league.
No, I'm saying based on how everything has panned out this season on the squad depth.
Oh, no. We should be 6th or 7th.
You think you have the 6th best squad in the league?
No, not squad-wise. I'm saying the squad has been mismanaged to the point where we should be 6th or 7th.
Fair enough. I think, I would say, I think you guys have probably the best, in my opinion, the best attacking options in the league. I'd just say that, the squad is out of balance. And before, I thought the system might have been covering up, and at least Slot was trying to achieve some balance, even if he was playing defensively. But I think the last 3 or 4 games, I don't see any balance.
So, do you have anything else to say about Liverpool? Because we haven't touched Spurs at all.
No, I don't. We should speak about Tottenham, though.
Kudos to them for getting a point. Richarlison especially, I thought, aside from the goal, he was also decent. Had a few good chances, caused problems for the back line. The goal, Gomez gave him too much space. And that's, I was saying Gomez is not good enough for centre-back. He's the one who left all that space open for
for Richarlison to run into.
Yeah. Oh, well, he wasn't running into. He was just standing
He was just
there.
standing. It's practically unmarked. Yeah.
Yes, that's the issue. And
it was a horrible pass from Vicario that I think was just...
Robertson didn't deal with it. The ball... Van Dijk is kind of left stranded because Robertson's poor clearance and Gomez leaving the space. So, yeah, very poor. What can you do about it?
I mean, I just... at least from a neutral perspective, I hope Tottenham stay up. You know? So
well, like I said, I would never want Everton to get relegated. You need somebody to dunk on.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I hope this point they pick up a few more points till the end of the season, enough to stay up. But they're looking like the most likely. Like I think you guys played terribly. They unlocked you guys, but the fact that you guys played terribly and still should have won the game comfortably is just a bad sign for Tottenham.
Should we have won the game comfortably? Like, what really big chances did we have?
I wouldn't say you had like big chances, but you had the territory like enough where I think if
possession doesn't win you games, bro.
No, I'm not saying but I don't think Tottenham really offered anything either. It wasn't like I saw something in Tottenham that would say, "Oh, okay, you guys are gonna stay up." Like you guys were horribly out of form and they needed like a terrible individual error to level up the game, you know.
Sabosta's goal, we haven't even spoke about that either. I thought it wasn't the best free kick, but Vicario was poor at defending it. Defending it, at saving it.
I remember Tottenham fans were very happy when they got Vicario instead of Raya, so I'm glad it worked out that way for us.
Vicario is so poor, bro. I'm not a fan of him even in the slightest. We need to move on now because
we talked about this for too long.
At least like 20 minutes. I'm looking at the timer here. But we should not be dedicating 20 minutes to a game. Anyway, do you have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
Nah, I think I've spoken everything I need to.
Okay, so in the miscellaneous section now. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0. And I'd like to say that this is a shock because we know Bournemouth to be this crazy attack-orientated team. But in recent weeks, they've drawn 0-0 with West Ham, Brentford, and now Burnley. The last time they scored 3 goals was against the worst team in the league, Liverpool Football Club. Kudos to Burnley for the draw, but once again, it's too late for them. Perhaps these good results will keep Scott Parker in a job when they come back to the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown he can get teams up from the Championship, so wouldn't be surprised to see Burnley back season after next, you know, if they keep him. But with the Bournemouth, I guess maybe something they could be happy about is that they're keeping clean sheets now. There was a big criticism of Areola before.
But at the expense of the attack.
At the expense, I mean, yeah, I think the attacking dynamics will come back. They've had a lot of injuries as well, from what I understand. So
and losing Semenyo.
Yeah, losing their best player as well. So I think Areola's doing as much as he can. I don't think he'll stay at Bournemouth beyond the season. I expect someone to take him. So we'll see. I still don't think ultimately I think he reminds me a bit of Unai Emery. I think he can raise a team. I don't think he can get to the absolute elite level, but we'll see.
Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. So again, not a shock result. Sunderland have had some really poor results recently, and Brighton have been in good form. So that being said, watching the highlights, it seemed like a very close game, and the goal was just like Bernardo's. It was a freaking incident. It wasn't any
like exceptional play or whatever. Yeah.
So anything else you want to say about Sunderland 0, Brighton 1?
No, I mean, just surprised with Sunderland dropping off a bit, but I guess it's their first season in the Prem, so it's a long season for them. I still think overall they would, for me, outside of Arsenal, whoever wins the league would be the team of the season, and then I would say Sunderland would still be my second team of the season based on the whole.
Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. So 2 teams looking to bounce back after disappointment in Europe. The build-up to Newcastle's goal was an almost carbon copy of the goal they scored against City in the FA Cup.
What did you make of Chelsea's huddle?
Oh,
surrounding the referee.
Yes, I love that picture of the referee looking at the camera like Jim from The Office. It was, it made me chuckle.
What the hell's going on here?
Yeah. Sorry, back to the game. Chelsea's left centre-back went forward while the rest of the back line dropped off, leaving a huge gap which Newcastle exploited. So either both City and Chelsea made the same mistake, or Newcastle are finding ways to disrupt the back line to cause these gaps. So if that's the case, then kudos to Eddie Howe for this tactical innovation, because...
I mean, from what you've said from this week to last week, it seems like Eddie Howe's developing his defensive attributes, maybe focusing more on transitional moments as opposed to like getting everything off the counter press. So I really like Eddie Howe. I like him as a person. I like him as a coach. I wish the best for him. So it's a good sign, you know.
Chelsea had a bunch of half chances, but nothing concrete. Even in highlight form, they look toothless.
I think Cole Palmer had one sitter that he missed. That was the only chance I can recall of Chelsea having a clear-cut chance.
They had a few like long-range shots that troubled keeper, but other than that, it was very tame in my eyes. Then we can... Oh, sorry, anything else?
No, I think Chelsea's just, you know, having one of those seasons where I guess they're just hoping to get in the Champions League and then start again from the pre-season, you know.
So, Arsenal 2, Everton 0. And I predicted a 0-0 because both teams are defensive, so I thought it would be difficult for both teams to score. And things were going to plan until the 89th minute when young Max Dowman played an excellent cross, which Hincapie hit back across the area for Gyökeres to finish. Max Dowman then scores the goal which seals the win. Last week I laughed when I read an Arsenal fan tweet, quote, Lamine Yamal and Max Dowman are the new Messi and Neymar. So perhaps I was wrong.
I rate Max Dowman very highly from what I've seen, but I think Lamine's the best player in the world, so I don't think he's anywhere near that level yet. But we'll see. Time will tell, you know. But they said the same thing about Foden, so I don't want to get carried away on Premier League hype yet or British player hype. But I really like Max. Everything we've seen from him, he seems like he has the makings of a top level player. So hopefully, his development continues. He gets more minutes in the team. He's very exciting, very direct. You know,
the type of thing that gets like your blood pumping.
Yeah.
As a fan or neutral, I should say.
Yeah, and I think especially with how defensive our system is, it also allows him like a lot more responsibility with it. It's like something you would have seen with Hazard under Conte.
It's up to you to...
Yeah, he gives, I guess that's the one thing Arteta does, figure it out yourself a bit, you know, so I think...
Well, it depends on your point of view, but you could be like, he leaves them uncoached, or you could say he gives them the freedom to express themselves, depending on your point of view.
I think it's
obviously.
Certain players, I think Dauman would probably fall into the same bracket as Saka or Odegaard, where he'd give them a lot of freedom. So it depends. I think Saka could benefit from being more structurally managed, but I don't think Dauman's going to get those minutes yet. I think he'll play a lot till the end of the season. I expect from next season he'll probably be more a starter than this season.
Who would you replace?
I would think Saka would move centrally. For me, I would play him on the right or left wing. But if Arteta's not going to play Eze on the left wing, I would be okay with putting Dauman on the left to start.
Because it's still Madueke, Martinelli, Trossard, for either wing. So
I think, those are all good backup options. I think those should be the backups. Madueke as a backup, Martinelli as a backup. Those are very good options. Trossard. I would still think I want Havertz as the main 9. So I would think Havertz. Again, Dauman's not going to be a first option next season either, I don't think. That's another thing that would maybe for me... I don't see anyone being very close to Lamine right now except Pedri, who's in his team. So I wouldn't make that comparison yet, because Lamine, I think he's the most he's the player in the world who has the biggest ability to make something happen from nothing right now, and Dauman's just done it for one game, so let's see if he does it more.
Okay. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. So despite the scoreline, it seems like a high drama match. Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty, Goodmanson got a red card, and Palace had a goal ruled out. So pretty much everything you want in a game. Not everything you want in a game, but a lot of high drama moments, I should say.
Entertaining.
Yeah. Palace don't have much to play for because they're safe in the league, so they're probably going to go all out in the Conference League, to try win that.
To try get in the Europa League as well, yeah.
So Leeds are also probably safe, but they're still within distance of relegation, so they shouldn't relax, in my opinion.
I think they're playing well enough, though. I think Leeds are probably the team I would be least worried about from Leeds, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest and West Ham.
Are we done, yeah?
Yeah.
Man United 3, Aston Villa 1. So this is the only result of the weekend that I predicted correctly, because the pattern of this game was so obvious to me. United scored from a set piece, a moment of Bruno magic, and a late Sesko goal, which that's what they've been doing recently.
Yeah, and I think Emery is now also a bit like Slot. The balance is completely off. Aston Villa getting played through consistently. So,
but to be fair, the Villa board haven't backed him.
Yeah, I mean, you could say to an extent they haven't backed him, but I guess we never really know what happens behind the scenes at clubs, because I think he was backed to a similar degree as Arteta at Arsenal, but the recruitment wasn't anywhere near the same, you know.
Aston Villa being okay. So while conceding a goal because of poor marking, I would argue that this is another poor performance masked by the scoreline. Aston Villa being even more poor, and individual brilliance, especially from Bruno, has covered up this poor performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were speaking about it, the Carrick situation over the last couple of weeks. I think, is it Carrick or is it Bruno Fernandes that's the real genius, right now?
Because speaking of which, he's on course to break the assist record for a single season. He has 16 assists and the record is 20.
I hope he breaks it because, I mean, it's Henry's record. I would, as an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't want him to break it, but as a human, I'd want him to get as many assists as possible. I like watching him play as well. But I also think that, it's people have been in this position before and seem to always struggle to get the last four.
I'm just going to correct you a little bit. It's a shared record.
And De Bruyne, yes.
Yes, KDB and Henry, 20 assists in a season. And I really thought KDB would get 25 that season.
Yeah.
But that's just not how it works.
And I think there was a time Ozil got to 16 in even quicker time than De Bruyne. Even quicker time than Fernandes, but also couldn't get the last four. I think he finished on 19.
Even last season, Salah looked like he was on course to
break it, get the 2020.
But I'm not sure what he was actually going to be a 30-20, but he just fell off.
He finished on 18, eh?
Yeah. I don't know how many he finished off on, but whatever the case is, are we done with United Villa, or do you have anything else to say?
I don't have much else to add.
Nottingham Forest 0, Fulham 0. So based on highlights, Nottingham Forest absolutely battered Fulham, but they just weren't clinical enough. I think Vitor Pereira is a good coach and he will help them. He'll keep them in the league.
So you're saying Tottenham's going down?
Yeah. West Ham are staying up, Forest are staying up, Leeds are staying up.
You've been very vehement on West Ham staying up. So
love West Ham.
I guess Tottenham's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take Van der Ven on the cheap if that happened, but that's the only good thing that would come out of that, I think.
Apparently Van der Ven is a Liverpool fan. So a lot of people have been speaking about him.
We don't need him. I'm just saying I think any club could take him on the cheap.
That's true. Anything you want to say about this game? I have nothing to say about Fulham or Forest.
Nothing.
Two clubs I have not followed very closely this season.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I've watched a couple Fulham games just to see how the old Arsenal boys are doing, but I wouldn't say I think they're in the same position they were last season, just a good mid-table team, All
right. Do you have anything else you want to say about any of the matches? You think
I just didn't highlight that. I think probably the player I know Max Dowman got man of the match, but I think the best player on the field was Saliba for me by a distance. So the last 3 games he's been back to his best. I think especially with regards to being played through or playing through the opposition, his passing is crazy. I don't think I pointed that. I'm just glad to have him. I think he's the best defender in the world when he plays like this. So yeah, I think I just wanted to give him some props for getting back to form and stabilizing our defense, because Gabriel has been making a lot of mistakes. I think they've been covered up by Saliba, and Gabriel gets a goal, so people are like, oh, Gabriel's the better one, but I've always been saying that Saliba's the glue of the back four for me more than Gabriel. And I think now, especially in the most important games, the Champions League games, the bigger games, the high pressure games, I think we're seeing that there's a different level to Saliba compared to any of Arsenal's defenders. Yeah,
well, you should judge a defender on their defensive work, in my opinion.
And I think his defensive work has also been the best in the last
but I'm saying comparing him with Gabriel.
I think he's a better defender than Gabriel.
No, but I'm saying Gabriel gets a lot of plaudits because of his attacking work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yes, sorry. Okay, I thought you were saying judging them on their tackles or something.
No. I'm saying you should judge defenders based on defending, not Gabriel's goals. That's what I was trying to get at. Sorry if that wasn't clear.
I think Rice and Saliba have been carrying him a lot this season, but he's also carried us in the moments of getting the goals, getting some good definitive passes. But I think the last 5 games especially have shown that Saliba and Declan Rice are by far our most important players, you know.
Alright, well, thank you for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, give a like, etc. Importantly, it needs to be a 5-star review. You can find all our links at pdfootball.com. That's the letter P, the letter D, football.com. Please tell a friend, tell that friend to tell a friend, tell a family member. And yeah, goodbye.
Thank you.